you. That was beautiful. Thank you. That goes along perfectly with what I'm going to talk about today. Let go of the shore and allow the water to carry you. Now, how do we do that? Talking about divine circulation. In the bulletin today, you'll see that I quoted a time when the Fillmores and Unity struggling in the early days, and they were having a terrible time financially, didn't know how in the world they were going to pay the bills. And Myrtle Fillmore stopped everybody. She says, let us not pray that the money holds out. Oh no. Let us pray that our faith holds out. Now, how do we do that? We live in a loving, abundant universe. You can just look around you and see the symbiotic relationships to begin with this earth that we were talking about. I was talking so lovingly with God about why are these bodies wearing out. And you look at the symbiotic relationships, and you know that we were made for this earth, and this earth was made for us. Just look at the trees. Look at what the trees do. Isn't that a beautiful, beautiful relationship? They reach down deep into the roots to get the nutrients that they need and the rainfall. And they take in what we breathe out so that they can send out the oxygen that we need. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that just beautiful? We don't take that for granted, or we don't take that seriously enough. We actually take it for granted. Every day, I think we do that. There's another way that I know that we were meant for this earth. It turns out that the 26,000 foot mark is where there's not enough oxygen to sustain life. And isn't it interesting that the highest peak on earth is 26,000 feet? Amazing, huh? Isn't that amazing? There are a lot of things like that will just put you in awe if you study the earth and all the beings and all the ways that we have these symbiotic relationships. But I want to go ahead right now and talk about a few practical ways, and I'm going to keep it as short as I can so we can get up here and dress that tree. Divine circulation, trusting the rhythm. We talk about it every Sunday. This is just one aspect of how we talk about the grace of God and living in abundance on this universe. Divine circulation is trust without the fear of scarcity. Has anybody ever had a fear of scarcity? I know I grew up with it. Did y'all? Yeah. My parents, speaking of the light bill, I can still hear my dad when we'd get the light bill and he'd see how much it was. I still remember him swearing and cursing about how in the world do we use that much electricity? We're going to have to cut it out, you know. And that was a form of scarcity. A lot of us bring that with us from our childhood, and that fear, there's not going to be enough. And you know, there's a demonstration in the Old Testament of the Israelites coming through the desert, and they didn't want for anything, did they? They had what they needed. Every single day, they had what they needed. There's another demonstration. Now remember, a lot of these are metaphors. They're stories. They weren't meant to be taken literally. They were meant to take the story from it. It's when Jesus was going to feed the multitudes with 5 loaves and 5 fishes. What did he do? What did he do? He didn't do what we normally do when we're thinking about Thanksgiving dinner and we start scurrying around saying, there's not going to be enough. I've got 50 people coming. I only have enough food for 10. And we get nervous and we start sending out for food and thinking, that's scarcity, folks, and fear right there. That's scarcity and fear. What did Jesus do? He didn't do anything, but he looked up. He looked up. And he found the way to feed the multitudes. And that's what we don't do enough of, is to look up and allow the divine to come within us, to have the wisdom to know what is ours to do. I see a lot of greed in the world. And you know the book, The Secret, it's got a lot of truth in it. We know that. The law of attraction, we know that. It does have a lot of truth in it, but people have used it wrongly. They've used it to amass great wealth while they see their brother walking down the street that has nothing to eat and won't possibly even think of giving him a sandwich because they don't want to take away from their hoard, and they've decided all on their own that this person doesn't deserve it. That's greed. That's greed, folks. And I hear a lot of judgment, too. Oh, well, look at that homeless fellow with his cell phone. Where did he get the money for his cell phone? That's none of your business, frankly. And quit judging, by the way. That kind of attitude will get you right out there on the street with him. And that's just plain the truth. The market may turn tomorrow. And those millions you think you have may turn into pennies. So what did Jesus do? He looked up and he was grateful. He said, thank you. Thank you for this abundant universe that I live in. I'm trusting. I trust. I trust. I have faith. It's the rhythm of giving and receiving, not driven by effort, but by understanding. We understand what we understand is we are part of this abundant universe. We're a part of it. And whatever wealth we have, we need to share it. I don't mean doing something stupid like giving all of your money away and then you don't have money for your own rent. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about common sense here. Just because you think you deserve a Ferrari, and maybe you do, I don't know. Sorry, Marquis, I got us off track here. I got too excited and hit the remote with my arm. It's the understanding that as we give, we are already receiving. I live in an abundant universe. I read of a woman that had just a few cans of food, and she wanted to give, so she gave one of those cans to the food pantry. She understood. She understood the giving and receiving is what we do. It's how we survive on this planet. It's the grace of living in an abundant universe. And let us pray that our faith holds out. Jesus said, look up and give thanks. Now, I also printed in the bulletin, and if you want to take the time to read the bulletin fully, you will find many quotes there about generosity and abundance. You will find how it works in life. Jesus said, give and it will be given to you, a good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. That's pretty simple, isn't it? Don't hoard. Don't live an extravagant life where you just love to spend money on yourself. but don't want to give to the poor. That's not living in an abundant universe. That's living in a universe based upon fear, actually, because that is fear that you won't be good enough. You won't show up enough in this life. You may have had a thought that maybe you should have become a billionaire in this lifetime, and it hasn't happened for you. Maybe you're doing exactly what you were meant to do. And you weren't meant to be a billionaire in this lifetime. Maybe you have all the wealth you need, all the money to pay your rent, to pay for food. You have transportation. You have absolutely everything you need. Health. And so instead of amassing millions of dollars, I think that we could just give thanks for where we are and ask how we can share it. And now if you are having a big prosperity issue, here's the part of the service for you. And it's the insert that's in the bulletin. Let's take a spiritual perspective on this. Seeking financial freedom is aligned with creating a life of balance, peace, and sufficiency. Abundance means having enough to live comfortably, free from constant worry or survival mode. We weren't meant to live in survival mode, because when you're worried about how you're going to pay those bills, else you'll be out on the street too. You can't be very spiritual, can you? So we're not meant to be in survival mode. Focus your intentions on stability, happiness, and well-being for yourself and those around you, for what you need, not necessarily what you desire. Desire is not a bad thing. And we all want to live in a nice house. We want to have a nice view. We want to have good neighbors. We want to have all of those good things. There's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. But what happens with the secret and the law of attraction, it becomes especially clinical in teaching people to go out and find ways to build up those masses of money. I guess I've always thought of abundance as having enough for myself and the ability to help others. And that's what I love. That's a good kind of abundance. I have the ability to care for myself and to help others when my heart tells me to do so. I know that a lot of people grew up, as I did, with parents who lived through the Depression. It's hard for them to give up that idea of scarcity, and they pass that on to a lot of us. And that has been our work, to see abundance instead of scarcity. And so when you find yourself looking at scarcity and falling into fear, remember to bring yourself out of it. One of the best ways you can do is to have affirmations that help you. And that's what the Fillmores have always recommended. And a lot of people recommend these affirmations that will help you. I am open to receiving the abundance I need to live comfortably and peacefully. I co-create financial stability with wisdom and gratitude. My needs are met, and I am free from the burden of debt. I release any fear or anxiety about money and trust in divine sustenance. And here's the thing to do that you should do, and do it routinely. Make a habit of it. Every day, find a time. My time is best early in the morning because I'm an early morning person, and that is to repeat those affirmations and do it consistently. Consistently repeat these affirmations. I am whole. I am well. If you need to heal, use this too. Same technique, over and over and over again. We have the fountain of youth. We have the fountain of abundance, love, appreciation, fellowship, everything that we need in this world. We have access to that fountain. And all we need to do is remember and participate in it. Wishing you abundance in all ways. And I thank you for your time.